Let's talk JavaScript. In fact, let's go out to the W3 Schools tutorial on JavaScript. And the tutorial I'm interested in is where to. Here we are. Now, the question posed by this tutorial is, where within my web page do I put a JavaScript? And you can literally put it anywhere you want. But there are reasons to put it in one place or another. Now, you can have a JavaScript in the body. And this is essentially the same program that we did in our last tutorial. It replaced the contents of the paragraph demo with the date from your system clock. Okay? Now, one thing to point out is that in the body, we would perform each statement in our web page as we encounter it. So the very first thing that we would do is to create our header, my first web page. The second thing that we would do is to define a paragraph and give it the name demo. Then the third thing we would do is our JavaScript, where we got the date from the system clock with this function, inner HTML equals date function, and took that and put it into that paragraph called demo. Notice that the paragraph had to exist before we could put anything there, which is why it's customary in JavaScript, when we put script into the body, that we put it at the end of the body. You don't have to do it, but it's a nice custom. Now, we could put our JavaScript in the head. When we put a JavaScript in the head, it's like a meta tag. It doesn't always get done. It's a resource. It's not part of the body of our web page. It doesn't give us anything viewable. It just basically is there in case we need it. And so here we are in the head, and we have defined some JavaScript. We have defined it as a function, and the name of the function is display date, followed by parentheses. What it does is exactly the same thing. It replaces the contents of a paragraph called called demo with the current date. When we come down into the body, remember that this script may not ever get called. So we load the web page, and the first thing that we do is display my first web page. Then we define this paragraph. At this point, nothing is visible. It's an empty paragraph, but it does have a name, demo. And then we come down to this line. A button is displayed on our screen below our paragraph. The name of the button is display date. If I were to click on that button, an event occurs called onClick. And this syntax says, if we have a click, then call the function display date. So at that point, our JavaScript is executed. Now, you can put your JavaScript in the head or the body. You can even have multiple pieces of JavaScript in both the head and the body. Or you can have your JavaScript stored as an external file and then just refer to it like this which will include it when the page loads. This is a handy thing to do if you have a JavaScript that is going to be run on more than one web page. That, my friends, is all there is to it.